Good morning, friends. As we've highlighted in our temple series, humanity did not remain in that idyllic garden temple setting. No, Adam and Eve are depicted in the biblical narrative as disobeying God, as rebelling against their Creator King. This rebellion serves as a symbolic event that echoes forward through time, and brokenness is the result. Brokenness in our relationships with God, brokenness in our relationships with each other, and brokenness in our relationship with the natural world and its natural processes. We feel this brokenness. Today, we celebrate our moms and mom figures, and yet we also acknowledge there's a tension. There are some of us gathered with us today that struggle with the memories of their mom. There's others that are with us that have experienced tragic events in the lives of their children, and Mother's Day is simply not a day of celebration. And then there are others who look to these celebrations with anger and bitterness from trying and trying and trying to no avail. We know this day is painful for some of you. We acknowledge that and we stand with you in solidarity. Friends, you are not alone in your pain. There aren't words that can fix this. If we could be together with you right now, I would simply sit with you. No syrupy platitudes, just presence. And it's in this place, celebrating on one hand, while holding space for all of you who are struggling on the other. And it's in this place that we invite Christ to come and meet with each of us. Those who are celebrating and those who are mourning, struggling, feeling the weight of it all. Genesis 1:26-28 reads, God spoke, "Let us make human beings in our image, make them reflecting our nature, so they can be responsible for the fish in the sea, the birds in the air, the cattle, and yes, earth itself, and every animal that moves on the face of the earth." God created human beings. He created them godlike, reflecting God's nature. He created them male and female. God blessed them. Prosper, reproduce, fill earth, take charge, be responsible for the fish in the sea, the birds in the air, for every living thing that moves on the face of the earth. Now, this moment in the creation narrative jumps out to me. As God has worked through this process of creation, He's pictured as stepping back to review His work. And it's almost as if we see a conversational tone. Let us make humanity in our image. We see a relational God. It's almost as if we're getting a glimpse of Trinity playing out here in the text. We also see a little bit of what it means to be made in the image of a relational God. Much has been said about what likeness means, what being made in the image and likeness of God actually represents. Now, it's true that we can talk about how it means that we carry God's authority here on earth to rule and reign in His image and likeness, in His character and nature. Now, it also means that we're moral and rational agents in creation. Now, additionally, it means that each of us, as image bearers of the Creator King, possess inherent value and worth. Inherent value and worth. Friends, you are worth it. Now, additionally, as we look, we can also see from this internal dialogue within the Godhead that being made in the image of this God is about being made relational to the core. Despite all the talk in our day and age about the equality of men and women, the reality is that women continue to disproportionately face oppression and abuse. There's still glass ceilings. There's still inequality in pay scale. There's still things that go unreported. At Pelham Friends Church, we hold strongly that it's both men and women that bear the image of the Creator King. And we lean into the implications of that. There are women, gifted, passionate, wise, serving at the highest levels of leadership in our church family, serving as elders on our leadership team, helping to steer the ship that is our church family. Now, we understand that it's both men and women that are image bearers of God, that reflect His character and nature out to the world. And we actually need both operating in shalom to fully experience God's heart. To be clear, being female is not being a lesser form of human. And being a man is not about being a better form of humanity. No. God delights in Eve in the same way that He delights in Adam. His likeness is given to both men and women. To simply be human means to participate in reflecting God out to creation. I emphasize this because it seems to me that women have been told through the ages that they are less valuable than men. It's a sentiment that many experience even today. I was chatting with Lindsay this week, and she recalled experiences from her work life where she felt the patronizing tone of those older male teachers. I'm sure there's countless stories across our community of women and mothers who have been pushed down by others, mostly men, who are looking to artificially bolster themselves. Friends, our relational Creator took care to knit Himself into the fabric of who we are as human beings. As we see the narrative of Scripture play out, we can embrace our moms and mom figures as the gift that they are, a living example revealing God's heart to us. In Matthew 23:37, Jesus is talking with a prophetic tone, and He utilizes an image that depicts God's mothering heart of protection. He says, "How often I have longed to gather your children together, as a hen gathers her chicks under her wings." Jesus is using descriptive language to depict God's mothering heart. And it's in line with other language we see in the Old Testament prophets. In Zephaniah 3:17, the prophet mentions that God will be quiet in His love. Can you imagine the tender picture of a God being quiet in His love? I imagine it paralleling some of the quiet, precious moments between mother and young child. The child being fully content to simply lean in and enjoy the closeness and warmth of mom. The child wants nothing more than its mother's presence. It's a time of quiet love, drawn simply from mom's simple presence. Then in Isaiah 49:15, the prophet reveals a little bit more of God's mothering heart. He says, "Can a mother forget the baby at her breast and have no compassion on the child she has born?" Now, I would tend to think not. Now, I've never breastfed, but from what I've heard and observed, especially once those little teeth begin to break through, you cannot miss the little one sucking away. The prophet's revealing a comparison between God and mother. going further by emphasizing that while human moms may fail in their role as mom, God won't. He will remember. He will be faithful. He will be present. He says God's got you. Friends, from a basic design perspective, the birthing process is God's idea. He's maternally given birth to the universe, birth to our planet, birth to all that is, and birth to us. And then from a spiritual perspective, Christ has given us rebirth, inviting us into reconciliatory relationships with himself. We can re-enter shalom with God, that peace, fullness, wellness with God. When talking with Jesus, Nicodemus needed clarification. He knew it was impossible to re-enter his mother's womb a second time. He missed that God's way is easier. Now, easier for us, not so much easier for Christ, who had to go the way of the cross to make it happen, but easier for us. Being born again in the Spirit gives new life to relationship with the Father. It's one that can enjoy unbroken intimacy. Friends, our moms and mom figures are a gift. On one hand, simply to make life better. But on the other hand, our moms and mom figures are a gift that reveal with flesh and blood a tangible expression of God's heart for us. May we experience a little bit of this dynamic as we hear stories and reflections from our community on their mom.
Hi, I'm Parker. We are casting in our living room, and I hope that you guys are having fun on Mother's Day. Mother's Day is where we get together and celebrate our moms. And today, this is going to be a story video about Mother's Day. Bye!
Good morning and happy Mother's Day. The Prophet Khalil Gibran said that the word mother is the most beautiful word on the lips of mankind. And everyone on earth has a mother. Personally, I believe that it's a privilege to be a mother, and an even bigger one to be a grandmother. My 3 children and 7 grandchildren are the most important in my life after my husband. And the difficult times that we live in at the moment have shown me how special they are. A mother has a great responsibility towards her children. She must protect them, care for them, feed, dress, educate, guide, and above all, she must love them. And love them unconditionally. The prophet Isaiah said, "Can a mother forget the baby at her breast and have no compassion on the child she has born?" My mother would be 100 years old this year on May 12th, and I miss her still. She was very precious to me. Being a firstborn, I learned very young how to be a good mother, how to assist her in the kitchen and with my 5 brothers and sisters. She was always there for us when we needed her. She shared our joys and sorrows and was so proud of our accomplishments. She lived vicariously through us. Becoming a surrogate mother often is often as important as being a mother who gave birth. I was very lucky through my teaching career to play this role with my teenage students, guiding and caring for them. Jesus had an earthly mother who loved him through his short life. As he was dying on the cross, Jesus saw his mother Mary and the disciple whom he liked. And he made the Virgin a surrogate mother when he said, "Dear woman, here is your son," and to the disciple, "Here is your mother." So today, let's all thank our mothers. Have a good day.
Hi, happy Mother's Day, everyone. And I just wanted to share a little bit with you today about my mom. Some of you know a little bit about her because there's times when I've used her in sermon illustrations before. But my mom was a person who didn't have a particularly easy life. She lost her own mom just before she was 3 and was sent to live with different relatives over the next number of years. She lived through World War I. She was a very young single woman living on her own in Toronto during the Depression. And then, of course, living through World War II. Not to mention that if all that wasn't difficult enough, she also sort of won the prize needing to deal with me during my teenage years. So all in all, not a particularly easy life, but it produced a number of really admirable attributes. And chief among those, I would say, was her resilience. I've always been really thankful for her role model as someone who was always resilient in the face of hardship, whatever form that hardship took. And certainly something that I remind myself of daily right now as life has changed so unexpectedly and dramatically during this time of pandemic. More importantly, though, it reminds me that I need to have a resilient faith. And not unlike how my mom developed resilience through the challenges in her life, resilient faith is more often developed through life's challenges as opposed to when life is easy. Not surprising, really, when you consider that most of the things that we cherish the most, relationships, family, forgiveness, and love, often don't come easily. So with so many things to be thankful for today, I think I'm most thankful for the way that my mom modeled resilience to me and how I can draw on that to build a more resilient faith. Happy Mother's Day, everyone.
So I have to break it to everybody that I do have the best mom on the planet. She's been a wonderful mother figure for me as I've been raising my own kids. She's been a best friend through the years and a spiritual mentor, prayer warrior that I've come to rely on. You know, my dad and my mom are a package deal. They're the dynamic duo, and they've loved us through many things in our lives, many stages of our lives, that unconditional love, from spiky punk rock hair to dropping me off at university, being super worried about some of the choices I was making at the time. I'm so excited that we've had the chance to share our love of history and travel the world together. Those are memories that I'll cherish forever. So as I think of Mother's Day, I just wish you the very best, and I love you.
Grandma, you always go the extra mile to make everyone feel loved and included.
And you always make the best treats, and you never forget any special occasions, especially right now during quarantine. You still make your contactless deliveries.
We love you,
We
Grandma.
love you, Grandma.
Love you, Grandma.
Happy Mother's Day.
Hi everyone, on this special day. My mom was an active mom, cooking and sewing and playing, camping and teaching. When I was about 14, this is when my mom and I became very close. Her husband, my dad, left her. God's strength given to her to go forward. We ate out, we shopped, we went on road trips, we had fun. This also helped my mom, as I think back. When I married, she could go forward. She had a place, a purpose on her own. At 95, that mom, was no longer there. A frightened, lost, legally blind person, woman, took her place. And God's strength again was given to caregive with His love. During this isolation time, God has brought so many simple moments to me, and He says, just like your mom did, as I sew and knit and make soup and walk the paths. It diminishes those hard times and so makes the sun shine in these small moments of love shared with my mom, Joan. Bye.
Pelham Friends. Pastor John has asked us this morning to talk about our Mother's Day memories. As I was reflecting back, I realized how blessed I was growing up in a Christian home with a godly mother. When I came along, my parents were in the second phase of their lives. Being born in the late 1920s, they had had their fair share of trials, plagues, and famines, and I was fortunate enough to have a godly mother who shared her stories of how God provided for them during these times. And in turn, it also made my faith stronger. My mother never wavered from her faith and was always steadfast in her beliefs. She had a kind heart and was always giving of her time, talents, and abilities wherever they were needed, and she always put herself last. She would instill in us to always put God first in our lives, and He would direct our paths. I feel that being born late into my mom's life enabled me to be a stronger mother to my own children. I've been able to bridge the gap between generations to make them stronger for the trials that they will face in this present world. If there's anything that I've tried to instill in my kids' lives, is that being a Christian is more than just believing in a God, but it's having a relationship, a day-to-day, moment-by-moment relationship with Him. By doing that, it will make them stronger in their faith and bring forth their own testimonies to their friends and families.
So, my mom, she was an amazing person. She was this tiny little thing. She was much shorter than me, and I would always just lean over and kiss the top of her head and say, "You're so cute," and she hated it. She would wipe her forehead and go, "I'm not cute," and I think she always secretly loved it. One of the things about my mom is she always took the time to get to know each of her kids' love languages. Each person in the world receives and gives love in a different way, and Mom always made a point to know what ours was. My love language is words of affirmation, and so she would often write me little notes and stick them in my purse or in my lunch pail, or whenever her and Dad went on trips, she would always write me a letter to have for when they were gone that I could read. And that was always really, really special to me, just that she took the time to know what I needed in that moment. One of the other things that she always did that used to bug me a lot, but when I look back on it, I'm like, oh, she was so cute. I would just find her staring at me, and I'd look over and be like, "Mom, what's up?" And she'd just look at me and tilt her head and just go, "You're so beautiful." And then I'd do the whole teenage thing, go, "Mom, stop." And she'd be like, "That's it, you're just so beautiful." And then she'd walk away. And it was special moments like that. Yeah, I just love her. She was pretty great. And it's pretty incredible to see how amazing of a mom she was when she didn't really have any mother figures in her life. So I love you, Mom, and I miss you.
First of all, I want to thank God for being raised in a Christian home with a godly mother. My love for the Lord from when I was very young progressed and became more and more as I saw Him more. I would not have survived without all those years without Him as my strength and to turn to. My children are the love of my life. They have been such a delight to me since they were born. My happiest days filled with joy were when we could bring a new little baby home. It was a very happy occasion and one that we we all celebrated each time. Randy, Jeff, Lisa, and Daryl. Our children have truly been a blessing to us. Now as the years have progressed, we have our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, 27 of us. We thank God for them all and pray God's best for each one of them. God is so faithful and has given us so many blessings through the years as a family. Love is the key ingredient to a happy family. When we love unconditionally as our Heavenly Father loved us, or loves us, transformation takes place. We have also gone through some of the storms of life, financial struggles, health issues, relationship problems. During these times of storms and difficulties, I just kept clinging to the Lord, trusting God to bring us through. Although the world and circumstances continue to change, God's love remains constant, and He remains ready to comfort and strengthen us when we turn to Him. God's unconditional love is always there with us. Love is the key. Love those all around you, even if you think nothing will change. Keep loving. Being part of this church family has been an encouragement along the way. I was a young mother who would look up to the older women for advice and help raising my family. Now I'm realizing that I am one of the older women. I pray that, led by the Holy Spirit, I might be an open vessel to those around me who are having a difficult time in life. I want to be aware and sensitive to those who need a tender touch of love. Happy Mother's Day to all of our mothers today. The Lord is the strength of my life. Psalm 27:1.
What is a mother? A mother is your first friend, your best friend, and your forever friend. And that certainly holds true for me. I am so mightily blessed to have a mom who's so supportive, caring, and loving, and who plays such a big role in our family's daily life. I always say if I could be half the mom my mother is, then I think I'm doing a pretty good job. And I have the privilege of being a mom to the special little girl, Kelly, who we love so much, and I thank God every day for her. She brings so much joy to our family. Proverbs 31:28-29 says, her children rise up and call her blessed, her husband also, and he praises her. Many women have done noble things, but you surpass them all. And that's so true for my mom. Wishing every mom and mother figure a very, very happy Mother's Day. We thank you for all you do, and we love you.
When I was growing up, I was really close with both of my grandmas and also Lori, who we also just consider grandma, plus my mom. So I was very fortunate to have 4 strong Christian women influences on my life. So that was really nice because at a very young age, I got plenty of good morals and values instilled in me so that when I was growing up, I would be ready to face all kinds of different challenges that come as you go through life and have that wisdom to get me through it easier than some people might have dealt with things. And it was always nice because I knew no matter what I was going through, I had plenty of very kind, loving Christian women that I could come and get advice from, and they would always have a unique perspective to help you get through too. Instead of, you can talk to your friends, you can talk to your siblings, but there's something extra special when it comes from your mom who loves you and wants the best for you.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Carolyn, for those of you who don't know me. I'm going to say a little something about being a mom. I was 21 when I had my first child, Michael. He's now 48. I was 24 when I had my daughter, Kristen. She's now 45. And my youngest, Greg, is 40 years old. I was 29 when I had him. Best time of my life, my young life. We had so much fun, so many laughs. it was just, you know, an amazing time, just like every other mother would say. I have some great kids, and I tell them all the time. I did ask my kids if they had some input into this video, if they had any memories they'd like to share. And of course, my oldest son was the first to jump in and say that they used to flip me while I was sunbathing on my lounge chair in the pool. They thought that was so funny because I never wanted to get my hair wet. Sometimes I'd make them get out of the pool so I could just have my own time. Anyway, they're still laughing about that one. My daughter enjoyed going for bike rides. She would sit on the back of my bike and we would go for a nice bike ride. And the fact that I was her brownie leader, she enjoyed that time as well. That was kind of special, mom and daughter time. And my youngest, Greg, his input was, everything was great, Mom. And that's how he talks. Kind of comical. But I think the last thing that I'd like to say is that my biggest accomplishment in life will never be money or the things I acquire. It will be who I raised. Happy Mother's Day to everyone.
Time to go. Come really close. Hi, I'm Parker. Come really close because today I'm going to be talking about moms. Today is Mother's Day. What do you do for Mother's Day? Moms are fun to play with, and dads, but we like moms because they are very tidy and they always are fun. I spend time with Mom. What I love about my mom, she's kind, caring, helpful, and most of all, she's tidy. That's what I like about her. She cleans her room, everything. And I hope you guys love your mom as much as I do. Thank you! But that's not why I love her. I love her because she's my mom. And we celebrate her on this very special day.
So not only was I blessed to have an amazing mom, but I've also been blessed by having amazing mother figures in my life. From best friend's parents to an amazing aunt, Auntie Michelle, who I know I can turn to for anything. But I just want to highlight two people who have really impacted my life, my whole life and most recently in my life. So the first one is my dear friend, Lori Hewlett. She was one of my mom's best friends, and her kids have become my best friends, and she's become kind of just an adopted mother to me. And she guides me and keeps me grounded and always prays for me. And I really love her and appreciate her in my life. And the other one is one that came recently, and that is Margaret, my dad's wife. She has become someone who I can lean on, someone who I can turn to, and someone who I really just cherish and love spending time with. So thank you to all those women out there who may not be a mother to a biological child, but you're a mother to people in your life. And so I just want to thank you for doing that and continue to love and support the people in your life. You are so cherished and you are so needed in this world. So we love you. Thank you.